All right. I'm back. No debating. Episode 101. Got a special guest. Introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? My name is Chris Tatarian, and I'm a Street Fighter player.
No. A pro Street Fighter
A
player.
pro Street Fighter
One
player.
of the best in the world, as you can see in the background. He was on the championship team with Mena RD. You got Cabo on there, man. Can you tell us about just your beginnings, just in fighting games in general?
All right. So I feel like fighting games have been so much of my life that I found myself going towards it because of the earliest memories of my life. So, for example, the earliest memory that I have in life is of my brother bringing home Street Fighter 2 and us playing it. My earliest memory is me seeing the character select screen of Street Fighter and hovering over Ryu, and my brother not letting me pick Ryu because he's the older brother. He got to choose who he wanted. Exactly.
Pick first.
He wanted Ryu. So I remember I just went down, Ken, hit it. And then from then, Ken was my favorite character.
Wow.
And I was maybe about 2 or 3 years old at that time. That's the earliest memory of life that I have. Then we fast forward a few years to the night that Saddam Hussein got his statue pulled. My brother and I went to his friend's house, rainy, stormy night, the vibe was just there. And he puts on the VHS, the Street Fighter 2 animated movie.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, I remember Street Fighter. I'm 8 years old at this time. And I see Ken and I love the movie. And I'm like, man, Ken, that's my favorite character, Then we fast forward when I'm in America and I'm a Call of Duty player. I'm always a gamer at this time, though. I love Mega Man. I love, Resident Evil, Capcom games, etc. But I don't really play like Street Fighter, never really entered my mind like that. Then I see the homie of mine who is playing Street Fighter 4 on Xbox Live. And I get in a party with him and I'm like, yo, man, how's that Street Fighter game? And keep in mind, I'm 13 years old at the time and my birthday's coming up.
Okay.
And so yada, yada, yada. He tells me to go buy it, whatever. And at this time, my brother's, 18 years old and I want to spend more time with my brother. My brother was really cool. He was DJing and all that stuff. So I wanted to bond with him a bit more, you know? And because we bonded through gaming. And so we go to Best Buy. I'm allowed 2 games a year, one on my birthday, one on Christmas. So it's a big decision for me. I'm going for my birthday. I got to get a video game that I'm going to play for a long time. And I remember being in Best Buy and it's me, my brother and my father. I'm walking past the games and I see Street Fighter 4. And I swear to God, bro, I have never felt something like I felt at that moment. I legitimately believe that I heard God's voice in that moment. Tell me, you need to buy this game. You need to buy this game. It's going to change your life. I heard that voice repeating in my head. And I felt like a magnetic draw to the game. I had tunnel vision. I didn't see any other game. I just saw Street Fighter 4. What broke me out of that tunnel vision was my brother coming up to me. And he shows me Pro Evolution Soccer. That was a game that we used to play. It was like another version of FIFA. And he tells me, like, let's go. We're going to buy this game. We're going to play it together because we played soccer games together. And I'm like, okay, for sure. So I grabbed the game and I'm walking to the cashier. And dude, I feel a pull on me, just like telling me, go back, go back. Like, this isn't it. Go back, go back.
Okay.
I get to the cashier, bro, and I set the game down. And then my dad's like, is this the game you want? You want to buy this game? I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, no, I just grabbed it and I just booked it all the way, grabbed Street Fighter. And as soon as that game touched my hand, it felt like everything was right.
Okay.
I ran back, go to the cashier, and my dad's Middle Eastern, he's pissed. He's like, oh, you're wasting my time. Is this what you want? I'm like, no, this is the game that I want. This is the game that I want. So, I get home that night. I play with my brother 2 games, Ken versus Ryu. I beat him. He goes to his room. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to start playing this now. And from there, I fell in love with the game. I just wanted to get better. I wanted to be the best Ken player. And then the journey expands even more. But that is how Street Fighter entered my life and how fighting games entered my life. It was from Street Fighter. It was going to the arcade, seeing Mortal Kombat 3 as a kid, seeing King of Fighters 98. And so I always felt like fighting games had a special place in my life. And I explored it with Street Fighter. And That's why I believe it was a divine intervention. Like I legit heard God's voice or something.
Wow.
And it changed my life.
Y'all heard that? He heard a voice. It was God's voice. Anytime y'all hear that and something is tugging at you like that, you got to follow your instincts. It could change your life. So you've got Street Fighter 4, and at what point do you realize you're actually, I'm good at this? Like, I know I'm good. What point, what did it take for you to say, I'm ready to compete amongst the best in the world now?
In Street Fighter 4, there was a ranking system, an online ranking system. And with each character, you get to see who the best is, right? Online. And quickly, in Super Street Fighter 4, the second version of the game,
right.
I was climbing up the ranks. I think I was number 1 on the leaderboards.
What?
For online. It was like
number
me,
1?
Bananakin, and Dr. Chaos and stuff. There was like 3 of us that were going back and forth, you know? But you see who the top 10 players are in America. And at that point, I'm 15 years old. I'm very cocky. I'm very, you know, I have a lot of ego at that time because I'm beating most players that I'm playing online. And then one of my friends at that time, Filipino man, introduces me in an Xbox Live party, who later became my best friend. Brent is cool. And Brent ended up living 5 minutes away from me. So I go over to his house and we're talking, we're playing, and this and that. And we eventually find out about this tournament called Wednesday Night Fights. And, you know, at that time period, Brent had already been part of the High Desert crew. And I was just kind of entering that scene. And we all talked about it like, okay, this is where we prove like how good we are. You know, online, all that shit doesn't mean nothing. It's about who wins at Wednesday Night Fights, especially if you're from SoCal. Like that is where you prove yourself if you are ready. So that's what ended up happening. We started going to Wednesday Night Fights. There was a tournament where I ended up beating Alex Valle, and that gave me a huge confidence boost. And I started slowly performing really good at Wednesday Night Fights. And I would say when I started getting grand finals with Snake Eyes, that's when I started developing the confidence, thinking that, you know what, like I really think I could go to a major tournament and win. Because before, you think like I can go to a major and maybe make top 32, possibly make top 16. You know, that would be an accomplishment. But for me, that was never good enough. You know, I wanted to be in a state where I felt confident enough to win a tournament. And when I started making grand finals with Snake Eyes, I was getting second place to him for a year, but I definitely felt confident enough to be able to enter a tournament and like do some damage and possibly win, you know? So that's around that time. Wednesday Night Fights, because of Valle, Watson, the Arrow, Brent, Pat, Jared, Elvis, all these people that really helped me develop into the competitor that I became, is the reason why I felt good enough to be able to compete. And I think that was around the year of 2012.
Wow.
2011, 2012.
And I remember when that game, Street Fighter 4 released, and I know GameStop had like a midnight release for it, and I was in line. I'm like, I've been a Street Fighter player since 91. You know what I'm saying? I remember all the fighting games from Art of Fighting to Fatal Fury to Samurai Showdown.
Yeah.
But Street Fighter always just held like a special place in my heart. And so I remember the GameStop had I was in Vegas at that time, and there's this long ass line, and then they released those the Street Fighter arcade sticks with it. Right.
Yeah.
This before the TE version. This before the TE came out.
Before the Mad Catz TE.
I'm talking about the little cheap joint. The little cheap one with the character art on the front. And so they had that, and then the TE came out, and then there was like this huge fighting game renaissance from Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and anyway, that's also a great memory for me. And shout out to Rowan. Rowan won that tournament in Vegas. Chobo Rowan, shout out to him. But anyway, so you know, now we fast forward, and where did you ultimately end up ranking? Not online, but just in the grand scheme of things in Street Fighter 4, where did you ultimately end up ranking amongst the best in the world? What would you say?
I think that by the end of Street Fighter 4, I had become in the top 1% of the world.
Damn.
Because I was already Well, because I felt like, at the end of Street Fighter 4, my first ever major tournament that I won was against Justin Wong.
Wow.
And that was one of the greatest moments of my life because it really proved to me like, yeah, you can do this.
You're there.
Him, you're there, and I respected Justin like crazy. He is the reason why I even like wanted to pursue competition, because I was watching him against Daigo
right
at not even Moment 37, but Evo 2009 Grand Finals. That's what introduced me to competition of Street Fighter in the first place. I stumbled upon that.
Wow.
Which led me to see who's Justin and Daigo, which leads me to Moment 37, which leads me to Ken's parry. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Fire.
And to be able to win a tournament against an absolute legend like him, it was a monumentous moment in my life.
Wow.
And so, you
beat, Jay Wong, bro. Wow.
At that point, I definitely felt like I was in the top 1% of the world. And
who name some other names that you would put
in America?
In
America, I would put, no order, just who would have fallen in that category.
That 1%.
Yeah, I would have put obviously Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, Pierre Balrog.
Be absolutely Pierre Balrog.
Yeah. Myself, Dominion, Smug, Strider,
with that Dudley.
Strider, and Chris G. Let's see. Brent was in there. I'm trying to think of at least a couple of more names because we were Mark Teddy, 100% Mark Teddy.
Shout out, hey,
yeah,
that guy
Kino. Kino started working a lot more. He wasn't really playing as much in Ultra, but the Kinos, Snake Eyes.
Oh, absolutely, Snake Eyes.
A lot of the Wednesday Night Fights guys, Tony was in the 1% for a long time as well. So yeah, there's obviously more names as well, but there was a solid like 20 to 30 players in America that were just absolute monsters. And just
I used to watch all of Mark Teddy's videos with his Guy play, because that was my main character in Street Fighter 4 was Guy. And Mark Teddy was doing things that we didn't even know was possible. He's doing it on the fly. His run stop pressure, the block strings he was coming up with, it was like, wow, this man is absolutely amazing. And I'm like just trying to pattern my game after him during that time. So all right, so beating Justin, was that the crowning moment of the Street Fighter 4 era for you, or was there a bigger moment than that?
No, that was the crowning moment. The only thing that comes close to that moment was when I finally beat Snake Eyes at Wednesday Night Fights, because that was a huge mental hurdle, man. To get second place to a guy for a whole year, that's very like mentally exhausting.
It's like your demon.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my demon.
He was my demon. And so that was a great moment for me in finally winning Wednesday Night Fights. And then I was able to win so many more. But the reason why the Justin tournament is special is because it was my first major. And it was the one that I got the trophy, and it was against the name like Justin Wong. I like to have that on your resume is just something to be proud of, because I had the utmost respect for him, and he paved the way for most of the players,
So we go to fast forward to Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're still using Ken at this point. This is your number one guy.
Right.
What were some of the differences that were just glaring from 4 with the focus attack system to now we move on and we get these V triggers?
Yeah.
Did you like this version of Ken better or not?
Okay, so I absolutely hated this version of Ken.
You gets no love around here, homie.
Keep
it real.
And just to be honest, I hated Street Fighter 5. We all did. When the game first came out, we all hated it. Not only because there was 8 frames of input lag,
right,
but it was because we were really struggling to figure out how much depth could this game have given what we've seen already. Whereas in Street Fighter 4, you know, we got to a certain point where we could identify potential depth inside of a game.
Okay.
Not knowing that I know everything, you know, but like you can identify once you become a certain level at a fighting game, how much depth a mechanic could possibly present,
Right.
you know? And in the beginning, we were just like, dude, it's just strike or throw or like shimmy, you know, and crush counters like that. We didn't,
Right.
and it doesn't make you feel like a badass motherfucker when you just do crush counters, you know? If
Mhm.
I get like perfect parrying on Chun-Li super from third strike, or if I get a one frame link into focus attack, FADC, yada yada yada, you know, to get the one frame ultra combo from the jab into level 2 ultra 2 from Ken, you know, those types of things. Those are the things that generate hype.
Those make you feel like I did some amazing shit
exactly.
right here.
But in Street Fighter V, Ken's design in Street Fighter V is not Ken.
Oh man,
he's not Ken from Street Fighter Alpha. He's not Ken from Street Fighter 3. He's not Ken from Street Fighter 4. He's just a brand new type of design, and he felt more like a Juggernaut type of Dudley-esque like type of character than he felt like neutral control, really good kicks, normals. His normals were trash in Street Fighter V. They never went anywhere.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So I had very bad distaste with the game. I hated it from the beginning, and it was just a moment where I realized, damn, like I still love competing. All my homies are still part of this, so I still had a lot of passion for it. And you know, I was able to do the whole Trinity thing with me, Brent, and Julio, and that obviously having that camaraderie kept the energy still alive, even though the game wasn't something that I enjoyed. So that was the whole era of Street Fighter V.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually, my best friend stopped competing in Street Fighter V around 2017.
They just kind of gave up on the game.
Julio got injured in 2017. So it was me, and it's really only been me with no homies around anymore for the last 8 years. So the first year of Street Fighter V was the last year that I actually got to keep the energy that was around me. You know what I'm saying? Going to Wednesday night fights and all of that, you know, with all the homies.
Right.
And then it just kind of started dwindling down one by one, people moving on. Mark Teddy didn't play no more. And it was just like me.
Yeah, you know, and I was looking for Mark Teddy in the Street Fighter 5 too, man.
There was no character that spoke to him. There was no, and he didn't like the game. He thought the game was whack.
Listen, man, I started out with Karen.
Yeah.
And then
Career Kanzuki, that's what they called her at the
Karin Kanzuki, right?
No, career.
Oh, career.
Yeah, because it developed so many careers. Like her. She was so good.
From Punk, right?
Well, Punk is a great player, you know, but like there was a lot of players that were doing so much damage with her. That's why they Problem X called her Career Kanzuki.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just a funny name.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Boom. So I went from her. Now I kind of get excited hearing about like guys master, right? Zeku, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't play like Guy at all. He's a stance switch character. You know, he controls the long range with the older version.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of more of a pressure character with the younger version, but it still just didn't really speak to me. And then from there, I moved on to Urien, and then I just kind of stuck with Urien for the remainder of that game. But even then, I just feel like there's no real character here for me,
for sure.
So we fast forward to Street Fighter 6, and you know, now where are we today with Ken? You've crossed over so many generations. You mentioned way back from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah,
you said your brother wouldn't let you get Ryu. You just press down one box, get Ken.
That's it,
and you stuck with him all the way. Now here we are, Street Fighter 6 era. Talk to me about Ken, the game design, and who are some of your favorite fighters? Not the characters, but players. Yeah.
So with Street Fighter 6, there was a lot of excitement in me when we started seeing gameplay of the game, and obviously when the betas came out, they were very exciting because in the beginning, a lot of the top players, if not all of them, believed that Street Fighter had now gone back to rewarding the better player.
Okay.
Whereas in Street Fighter 5, a lot of us felt like there was just the mechanics in that game. It made it so difficult to be confident in that game. and the mechanics were pretty ass. I hated V Trigger.
Everybody hated V Trigger.
And in Street Fighter 6, when I got my hands on Ken, I was like, oh yeah, this is Ken right here.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. Like,
Okay.
not only is he back, but he's broken. Ken was incredibly strong. And it's a good feeling, you know, when you know that your character is top tier, you're like, oh yeah, I'm actually start winning even more now, you know? So there was a lot of excitement, and the mechanics were really fun. You know, Drive Rush, the introduction of Drive Rush, it kind of felt like FADC almost.
Yeah.
But I would say around after the first 4 months of the game is when the degeneracy of the game started evolving even more and showing its true colors even more.
Okay.
Where people started abusing Drive Rush a lot, and we started seeing the holes with the design of the game and a lot of like problems with characters and whatnot. Even though the balance of the game was relatively good, I believe still the vanilla version of Street Fighter 6 had the best balance.
Right. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah,
almost everybody was broken. Yeah. Almost everybody was able to win a tournament. You just saw a lot of JP, Ken, and Luke, but
yeah,
so many characters are strong in Street Fighter 6. But anyway, so at this current state right now, I personally think that the game is still better than Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
However, I have a lot of gripes with the game that hurts me in competition. And I feel like it's very difficult for me to be confident when I compete in Street Fighter 6. And it's not because of my lack of belief in myself, but more so because what the game forces you to deal with in a 2 out of 3 setting. It's incredibly difficult to be consistent in this game. And alongside the culture of what it is to be a Street Fighter player, you know, if I may just diverge a little bit, when you're a Street Fighter player, you don't make money. We're not making money off this. This is purely fueled by passion. At least it was a long time ago. Now there's like that $1 million tournament and all that, but you're not. Who's winning the $1 million tournament?
Exactly.
You know, and it's harder to win Capcom Cup or Evo than it is to be an NBA champion.
God damn.
Only one person is winning.
Yeah, that's fucking true.
Only one person is winning.
Only one person is winning.
Walking
Capcom
away
Cup.
happy, you know?
Yeah.
The drop off from this year's Capcom Cup, the new season, right? The first place gets $1 million. $1 million.
Yeah.
Second place gets 100,000.
That's a $900,000
drop off.
Right.
What is that? You know, you train all year. You give your all of it.
You got to be in front of that monitor
the whole time.
What, like 8 hours a day?
Type shit.
You got to be training.
In order for you to feel confident, in order for you to keep up with the top 1%, you really do have to put in that type of time.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Now, the greater the player, the less time they do have to put. But what I'm trying to say is your life has to be devoted to Street Fighter training, or else you're not winning a Capcom Cup and you're not winning a major. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all.
So, given that we don't really make money like that, you know, there's a very small percentage of players that actually make money. In America, I could count maybe 5 players, if that
are actually making a living.
That are making a living off
a
of it.
decent living.
Yeah. Yes. Someone like Justin, Punk, Brian F, Smug, and I don't know. That's 4 right there, you know? Out of how many American players?
Man.
But that could actually say, like, oh yeah, like I'm making a living income. I could pay my bills.
I could pay my rent, my mortgage.
Exactly.
Car note, insurance.
What does their life look like? Their life is devoted to Street Fighter. And Justin doesn't compete like that. You know, he's making content, but their lives are devoted to Street Fighter. They do this. Brian F is the only one out of those that actually like work, you know, that has a 9 to 5, I believe. Because I think Justin is full-time content, you know, he has all his sponsors and whatnot. But Brian F actually goes to work, but when he comes home from work, he streams. You know, he has a schedule. He does this. So
it's funny. I kind of feel like there's a hand in hand with battle rap and Street Fighter. Anything that you want to be good at, you have to devote so many hours.
Yeah.
To be in the top 1 or 2% in the world. Like for me, like it's constantly writing, rehearsing, getting on planes, battling, writing, rehearsing. Hardly got time to do family events. Hardly got time to go and chill, just do anything.
Just relax.
Just chill. No, it's constantly dedication. But I think that's a sacrifice that comes with anything. Kobe was in the gym before they even opened the goddamn gym. You know, he was in there. He spent the night in the gym. They take the locks off the door. He's still in there shooting.
Here's the thing, though. The difference is Kobe was a millionaire at that time. I'm not a millionaire, and I'm not making millions off of Street Fighter. If I'm making $1 million to be in the lab for 6 to 8 hours a day,
it's
hold on, babe.
Yeah.
Hold on, mom. Hold on, dad. Hold on.
People this that I love and that I care about.
This is what not only brings the money, but I have even more motivation to succeed in it.
That's a fact. That's
even though money isn't the people don't money. Look, when you're a grown man, money's important. We live in this reality where you got to make a living. Right?
I'm so glad you speaking the truth now, man.
So, you know, and as I mentioned this to you before, you know, that's what irritates me as a basketball fan when I see players miss free throws. And I'm like, bro, you're getting paid millions of dollars to miss a free throw?
Yeah.
You know, if I was getting paid millions of dollars, I would have like a 98% success rate on bread and butter combos.
Right.
There's a difference between difficult combos and bread and butter combos.
Yeah.
Free throws are your bread and butter basketball shot.
That's a fact.
It's a free throw. Nobody's in your face. You're in front. Like, I ball a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know it's difficult when pressure is on and whatnot, but a free throw, you know, in just the first quarter or second.
So you're not supposed to drop a bread and butter combo with like, the game on the line.
Yeah, that's like me dropping a jump fierce into uppercut for the win. I don't got to do anything fancy. It's right there. I got to jump in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or I got to whip punish, and I miss it.
That's crazy.
So, and I'm like, if I'm getting paid $1 million,
I'm gonna hit this bitch.
I'm hitting this bitch every time.
Every time.
Unless, you know, 98%. Sometimes you're a human. You can drop a combo.
You can.
But that's just from my perspective when I you know what I'm saying?
See where you coming from.
So I had the Kobe dedication, but there was no money that came with it. It was just struggle. I struggled. I made nothing off of Street Fighter, you know? The only thing that I made was like a couple of $100 at Wednesday Night Fights, and that's if I won. And then I had to save that money and then win it again and win it again. Like that, there is no incentive financially. There's incentive egotistically and pride and status and fame and who you are and your identity. There's all of that, but there isn't any financial. And when you grow up, you need you need money.
You need money to live. Before we get out of here, Street Fighter League world champions.
Yeah.
Talk about this moment when you are a world champion.
Mm-hmm.
You understand like how difficult it is to be a world champion at anything.
Right.
Not just Street Fighter, not just Mortal Kombat or Tekken or Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Basketball player, a battle rap champion, right?
Yeah.
The level of dedication and the separation from skill set, like here's a talent pool here, but to rise to the top of all these extremely talented killers from around the world, and you are one of the, as you can see, how does it feel to actually say I'm a world champion at this shit? So it don't feel so like how you was just saying the incentive that, okay, I'm not really making a living off of this. But I can walk away and say it wasn't all for naught.
Yeah.
It wasn't all for nothing. I'm a world champion. So that training and all that shit paid off.
Right.
For something, right?
Right. So, you know, I try to be as humble as possible when I say this. I think that the format of Street Fighter League obviously is the reason as to why I'm a world champion in the first place. And what I mean is I had a team that helped me out a lot in that format to become a world champion in the first place. I relied on my teammates a lot. starting with what led to the world championship was the US championship, right? So we were in LA for that US championship. At that time period, I'm working full time and I'm going to school full time. I didn't have the amount of time that my teammates did to devote to Street Fighter. And I wasn't as used as I could have been if I had devoted more time into Street Fighter.
I see what you're saying.
So my teammates came in clutch for me during the US championship, right? Now, I played my part when it came to the to the US championship. I played my part. I did what I needed to do in order for us to make it to the world championship.
Okay.
There was a very difficult task in the finals of having to step up and beat Punk. And I was able to do that, which led the atmosphere and the energy in my team elevated like crazy when that happened, which led to Shanghai beating him as well. So it was like a chain of effect.
And hey, every little part of the machine played its part. So don't minimize your role in y'all winning that championship.
Absolutely. That's why I say as humble as possible. Right. I don't want to over exaggerate or like make myself seem higher. Like I have to admit the truth, but I also have to say that I was part of that team that led to us getting to the world championship. And y'all won. And we ended up winning the world championship. It's an amazing feeling to be able to call myself a world champion.
There you go.
And I always felt like I was a world champion because I've won so many tournaments.
Right.
And at a certain point, you are a world champion. You travel the world and you win a tournament here, you win a tournament there, you win, the highest degree though, the ring that you're talking about, there's three kinds. Okay. The top number one spot, right, is Capcom Cup. If you win a Capcom Cup, that is the purest definition of I am a world champion Street Fighter player.
Okay.
And tied with Capcom Cup is Evo.
Okay.
So there's two right there. It's Capcom Cup and an Evo. If you win an Evo, you can call yourself, by the purest definition in Street Fighter terminology, I am a Street Fighter world champion.
Okay.
Now introduces Street Fighter League. Now, Street Fighter League is, I don't want to undermine it, but it's like one frame lower than a Capcom Cup and an Evo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it still holds that world championship title. I think for the long, Street Fighter League is a relatively like newer thing. For the longest time, people have always wanted to be a Capcom Cup or an Evo champion.
Right.
To fully to be a Michael Jordan type.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Hey, at least you got one of them. At least you got one of them. One of them.
So 15 years of my life, it was all worth it.
There you go. Before we get out of here, name your personal top 5 players in the world today.
Personal
Street Fighter 6.
Top 5 players
Chris
today.
Keys personal. So this list doesn't reflect nobody else's. This is just his personal. Give me the top 5 players alive.
Mena is number 1.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Shout out to Mena RD, man.
Angry Bird.
Oh,
right there.
Angry Bird. There.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. Angry Bird is tough.
Third, I'm gonna give me a second on this one because this is quite difficult.
Take your time, man.
This is quite difficult.
Take your time, man.
I think that third would have to be Tokido.
Can't go wrong with Tokido, bro.
Mm-hmm. I think fourth, it could be third and fourth. They could interchange, but Punk now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I would probably put Punk over Tokido right now because Punk just beat him in a tournament yesterday, the day before in like a Korean tournament. So Punk, Tokido. And then number 5 would have to be, I'm going to say Gachikun.
Oh,
I'd say that would be top 5 right now.
I don't know if you could put 5 other names together that can take that 5 out.
Yeah, that would be really extremely difficult to do. Yeah.
Yo, shout out to them. Shout out to them. Shout out to you and the career that you had. Thank you for, stopping by the studio and even giving me some personal tips and training. So listen, all you battle rappers and Jay Black and everybody, Hip Hop Gamer and anybody, Lupe Fiasco, all y'all hip hop fools. Listen, man, I'm getting trained. I'm literally getting training from a world champion Street Fighter player. None of y'all can see me. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. Shout out to you in the career that you had, man. I want to see you progress. I know Evo is coming up in 2 weeks, man. So hopefully we get to come back and
we'll see
and say, yo, Chris T pull off the freaking miracle.
That'll be miracle indeed, man.
Top eight is great.
Yeah, I'll take a top 8.
Top 8 is insanely good.
Yeah, it is for sure.
But winning it,
that would be crazy. But I don't know, we might have different endeavors coming up in life. So
I know, right?
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, y'all. I told y'all that hip hop and fighting games go hand in hand. Please be on the lookout for upcoming project from maybe some guy named Chris T. Man, y'all get pretty soon. You're gonna see a collaboration joint. Danny Myers, Chris T. We're gonna drop some hip hop on y'all. It's gonna be fire. He's got an entire project on the way. This man is nice with the rap. That's how we met. We met through the fighting games, but then it comes to find out that we had similar interests as far as hip hop and fighting games, and it's kind of go hand in hand. And now this is my bro, man. He pulls up to the crib. We do training on all kind of different shit. Anything you want to promote before you get out of here?
No, man. I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate everybody that supports me, and God for allowing me to be alive today.
Yeah, man. Hey, salute to you. Salute to the whole FGC. This is No Debating with Danny Myers, man, and we are out.
West side. I'm back. Goosebumps shit, Tuxedo talk. It's your boy. Yeah. Shit feel like a D movie. Used to run around and try get it in the streets loosely. Wonder why I keep loosies. Bitches turn me down, turn around and gave me free coochie. Picked up 10, 17, she try me Gucci. I say it's best you come alone, she came with 3 groupies. I took them out for dinner, stunting like who eats sushi. And then she told me she be running when she meet goofies. Plus she let me nut and wipe me down, I'm yelling free Boosie. I got respect, so when I drop them niggas still pay. I'm in the bank, I'm acting foolish like Shaquille say. Broker had you plotting on some niggas in a real way. Remember when I had a beat from Yeezy, he was still yay. Cut you like a feel late. First to wake up, but somehow a nigga still late.